So we'll start with module 5. Module 5 is augmented reality and virtual reality. We will see what the definition of augmented reality and virtual reality. We will also see the architecture of augmented reality, the features and the applications of augmented reality. Other than augmented reality and virtual reality, you have a third type which we call it as mixed reality. Mixed reality is the combination of both augmented reality and virtual reality. So now, what is the fundamental idea of AR? So what is AR? AR is nothing but augmented reality. What does augmented reality does is, it is nothing but the combination of the view of the real environment with a additional virtual content that is presented through computer graphics. That is, it is the combination of both the real environment and also the virtual content through the computer graphics. In the sense, as I said, you will be in a normal real world, and being in the real world you can experience the virtual world by using your smartphones, so that we call it as augmented reality. Next comes introduction to augmented reality. Just note down the first point. Augmented reality is a form of emerging technology that allows users to overlay computer generated content in the real world. To overlay computer generated content in the real world. So, as those emerging technologies, the new emerging technology is augmented reality. So augmented reality is the one which makes the user to experience the virtual environment by using many different types of devices and also by using different types of techniques. Right? So you can see one image which I'll show you here. Can you see this? In the first image, you can see that there is a smartphone in a normal person. The person will be having the smartphone and he can check that how does that furniture looks when he plays in his home. So he is in the real environment, but he can try how that particular furniture looks when he is in the real environment, and that is in his house. Have you people heard about something like pepper fry for augmented reality? So, in general, augmented reality is the combination of both real world with a virtual content, both real world and the virtual content, where the person will be in the real world and he can experience the virtual world by using some of the applications in his smartphone. Understand? That is augmented reality. Yeah. Next comes virtual reality. Virtual reality is fully immersive, which tricks your senses into thinking that you are in a different environment or world apart from the real world. So the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality here is, what we do in augmented reality is the person will be in the real world and he will be uh, analyzing the virtual world through his cell phone. He will not go into the virtual world and experience, he will be in the real world. Whereas in case of virtual reality, the person senses that he is only in the virtual world instead of being in the real world. So here there will be many different hardware devices. There will be many different hardware devices through which the person can experience that he is not in the real world, he is in the So in
Okay.
Avatar, how will the person analyze? It's like he will be in the real world only, but he will be wearing from some hardware components to his head, and he will be placed in some box, okay? Where after going into that, he will feel that he is in some other world, not in the real world. In the same way, that example we can take it for virtual reality, where the person will be wearing some hardware components. By wearing that, he may feel that he is not into the real world, is actually into the virtual world, and he acts according to the actions that happens in the virtual world. Or other than Avatar movie, I guess you would have been to some malls where there will be one space where they will make you to sit in that particular sofa, and they will make you to wear one specs like component, okay, so that whatever is happening wearing that, you will feel that you are inside that and you are performing the actions according to that. So that example we call it as virtual reality. Just take down the first line there in your books. VR is fully immersive, which tricks your senses into thinking you are in a different environment or world apart from the real world. So how can a person experience that is, he can experience that by using a head mounted display or headset. So head mounted display, we can call it as HMD, where you'll experience a computer generated world of imagery. Imagery means there will be the computer generated images and there will be computer generated sounds. Okay, in which you can manipulate objects and move around using the controllers while tethered to a console or PC. So I'll show you one diagram so that using that you can, by seeing that you can understand. Yeah, this is the diagram. Fine. So here you can see a hardware component, and this we can call it as Oculus Rift. There are many different hardware devices such as HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, or Google Cardboard. Okay. These are some of the VR devices, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, or Google Cardboard, where wearing that the users can be transported into a number of real world and imagined environments. In this diagram, you can see there is a VR case. Okay, so this we can call it as Oculus Rift. And in the second image, you can see that there is a lady who is wearing that. So when you observe this diagram, you can see that there is a smartphone which is connected here. Are you able to see a smartphone which is connected in the second diagram? Are you able to see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So here, for this particular device, we will connect the smartphone, okay, through which you can imagine the imaginary world, and the person is also wearing the headset through which they can hear the sounds, and through this smartphone they can see the imaginary view. Okay, so for this particular device, the smartphone will be connected, through which the person feels like they are not in the real world and they are in the imaginary world, and the person can make some changes in that imaginary world by doing some action.